Welcome to Finish First Financially. Goran Radanovic here. I've got a question from Reddit that I'll read and I'll give my take on it. It's obviously not financial investment advice. It says bank accounts in the red, $11,000 in debt, but I start a $39 hour job next week. How can I rebuild fast and smart? I'm 34 right now. My bank account is negative $350. I've got about $11,000 in debt, credit cards, and a few lingering bills. A speeding ticket I couldn't pay last month that I missed the court date for, and a credit score stuck in the fair zone. I was making around $30,000 a year before, and in March I went through a rough patch mentally and financially. Got sucked into online casino gambling, made a lot of poor decisions, and everything spiraled. The one thing I've got going for me now is that I start a new job next week, $39 per hour, full time as an instrumentation technician. It's a big opportunity, and I'm ready to treat this like my second chance. That's good. I've stopped gambling, locked down my old debit card to prevent anything else from draining it, and moved my direct deposit to a SoFi account to start fresh. But now I need to figure out how to climb out of this hole strategically, not just paycheck to paycheck, but with a real plan. I don't want to waste this opportunity. If you've been in a similar situation, how did you prioritize? Did you focus on savings first, debt, fixing credit, catching up on missed fines? What tools or system helped the most in the first few months? What mistakes should I avoid now while I've still got momentum? I'm not looking for pity, just real advice from people who've been here and made it out. I know this is on me and I'm ready to do the work. He edited the post and said that he paid off the ticket, which is good because you obviously want to avoid legal problems. And in a situation like this, you want to get a hold of, you want to sort out your gambling addiction problems, because nothing is going to help. No financial advice will help you if you're still gambling your money away, and that's your priority. So it seems that he's got that under control. So those are the first things that I would do. Now, I was actually in a much worse situation than he was, because all of my mistakes literally landed me on the street. I made a tremendous amount of mistakes, and I got evicted, had to pack all of my stuff into my car, park my car on the side of the road, and I lived in it. And at the time, I didn't have a job, had no savings, had $40,000 of debt, and I was basically eating like 2 buns a day. That was the only nutrition that I had. So I know exactly what he's going through. And well, luckily he's got a job. I didn't even have that. But the first thing that I did once I got a job is that I never wanted to be in that situation again. I didn't want to make myself vulnerable financially to the point where if my income stopped, then what was I going to do? Well, the answer was obviously going to be I'll probably have to go back to the street again. And I didn't want that to happen. So the first thing that I did is I decided to save up for my a savings account and for an emergency fund. These were 2 separate accounts. The emergency fund was in case something happened, in case I broke, my window was broken and I need to replace that, or water pipe burst. That was the one thing. And the other account was the savings account, which was extremely important because I wanted to ensure that I had enough funds to cover rental mortgage, utilities, and food. Those 3 expenses are crucial for survival. So if my income stopped, I wanted to know that I had savings for several months to cover those 3 expenses until I replaced my lost income. Because for me, although I wanted to pay off my debts, and I eventually did, I'm debt free. What I did is the priority was to avoid being in that tough situation ever again. So I had to cover myself with the savings to be able to pay the essential expenses. And as I said, obviously my intention was to pay off the debt, but I made arrangements with the debt with my creditors to pay them off when I could, because obviously this was priority for me to have that savings account. What good is it for me to pay off my debt, have no savings, then I lose my job, have no income, have no savings, and I have to go back onto the street? Okay, yeah, I'm debt free, which is great, but what does that mean to me when something much more important, such as having a roof over my head, I lack? I don't have that. So it means very little to me to be debt free and have no savings to cover myself in case of emergency. So obviously, I wanted to pay off the debt, but I made arrangements with the creditors in some cases to pay the bare minimum or sometimes even a bit below the minimum, just so as long as they see that I've got the intention of paying them off, or to delay the payment until I can make the full payments. There's always certain arrangements that you can make with the creditors because obviously they want their money and you show intention of wanting to pay them. You can work something out with them. But for me, it was extremely important to cover those three expenses because I never wanted to be in a vulnerable situation like that. And then once I'd saved up for those three expenses with the emergency fund, and my income increased, then I started paying off all of my creditors. I caught up on all of those payments that I had defaulted on and managed to settle every one of them, thank God. So that's what I did in my situation, which was actually even worse than in yours. And I wish you all of the best. Obviously, if you want to learn how to reduce your expenses so that you can save up for the emergency fund, for the savings account, you can check out my book, From Homeless to Debtless with Savings. I'll put a link in the description below. And all of the best to you.